Hey everyone, I'm Ken Kneep, Technology Development Rep with Bayer, and I'm here today with Dr. Douglas Jones, an entomologist and Market Development Rep with Bayer out of Lincoln, Nebraska. So, Dr. Jones, we just experienced a very long, cold winter. Can you tell us how will this impact the insects that we see every year that attack our crops?
Well, thanks, Ken. Yeah, every winter is a little bit different, but the one thing that we have to remember is that insects are a very ancient class of animals that have been around since before the dinosaurs. And they've seen pretty much every type of winter you could possibly think of. And so they have a lot of strategies developed to combat these cold temperatures. Some of them can actually freeze solid, and they're good down to 100 degrees below zero to be able to survive that. And then others actually can produce an antifreeze in their blood. And so they'll hunker down in the soil or in some other protected area, and they can get quite cold, get quite a bit below zero, and still survive well. Others leave. If it's too cold, they just pick up and migrate. Monarch butterfly is a great example of that. We don't consider that a pest, but it'll get up and move. So and then others actually, I forgot, they will go into a life stage that is very resistant to cold, such as like an egg. So they're pretty well adapted for the cold weather. So based on that, I wouldn't expect a huge change from what we traditionally see. There's going to be some minor differences, but I wouldn't expect huge changes. And that means that we really need to think ahead and be prepared for what we might see.
Okay, interesting. Hey, can you tell the growers that might be watching this, what can they do to be prepared?
Well, some of the traditional things that we've done, seed treatments are one of the things. And these are things that are done by the companies that supply your seed. And you kind of don't even have to think about those. But when you start looking at traditional pests like corn rootworm, you need to be thinking about strategies such as either rotation strategies where you're rotating away from corn to beans every so often, and that's to reduce the population. Insecticides is another possible, and then also traits, especially pyramided traits in the corn that you plant. Those type of things work well.
Okay, this spring in Nebraska, we had unprecedented flooding occur. So what advice would you have for farmers on how this might impact insects in their areas that were impacted by the flooding?
Yeah, that's a good question. One of the big things about flooding, it depends on the level of flooding that you experienced, but you're basically dealing with a whole new reshuffled deck of soil when that happens. And so you may have insects that were never a problem on your farm, suddenly a problem this next year. And then you may have things that were a traditional problem that got washed away. So the basic thing that I can tell you on that is that there's really no great way to predict exactly what's going to happen. So you kind of have to really scout. You have to really be prepared to react to what might show up on that field. You may have soil washed down from a heavy rootworm population into your rotated field, and then all of a sudden you've got rootworm in a field that you shouldn't have. So you got to be prepared for those things and be ready to react.
Interesting. Okay, well, thank you, Dr. Jones, for your time today, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching this video from the Gothenburg Water Utilization Learning Center. For more information, please call 308-537-4500.